Morning, boyos and chest feeders. Welcome back to Bitcoin Land, featuring some forks. Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wish you a happy and healthy start on this lovely Friday morning. And as you can see, there's actually a little bit of light outside, so it is a completely new day in Helsinki, Finland. And with that said, I would like to wish you the actual best of the best and the happiest in a more formal way. With that said, into the Krown Chain application we go, of which I do have to hold my tongue a little bit right now, as I did just get off a call last night with the devs, and we have a lot of stuff baking in the background, which I'm really excited about. And without spoiling the surprise, I can just say, value added, sir. Enjoy. Anyways, into the Krown Chain application we go. Of course, you can claim your own free account if whenever you so decide at just by following the link in the description below, app.krownchain.net. Anyways, Bitcoin dominance did head down about 1% from yesterday to today, as Bitcoin trades more or less sideways in a range over the last time that we spoke. I think within the last 24 hours, yes. But that does imply that altcoins were kind of gaining on top of that. So now we have a bit of a range in this rotational market. Once again, Bitcoin leads and sets the pace. Now altcoins are doing a little bit of following right now. So we actually wanted to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart again today, setting up for the weekend. And of course, the weekly closure for CME is all going to be a big focus of today's analysis. On top of that, we do see that the fear ingredient index is stuck at a 93, which I imagine is going to get stuck there for a little bit longer. And my microphone's working and the video is recording. So that's actually really good. Very happy about that, because I actually did just get through a video, about a 5-minute video, where the microphone was completely turned off. So really good job on that one, Krown. Anyways, open interest. What do we see over here? Came down from yesterday to today since we last spoke about 24 hours ago. Within the current concept of the price action, we also did see about $1,000 move to the downside. Not anything sort of catastrophic, but I do want to recall back to this number soon enough. So keep in mind that once we get into the actual charts, we will call back to this, but for now, just remember, open interest did come down about 200 million from yesterday to today, and in price action also coming down a bit as well. So that would essentially imply that we do have longs taking profit a bit, as you would imagine when Bitcoin hits about $52,000, which is kind of a crazy number to begin with, but. Fair enough. We live in what's it called? We live in the twilight zone right now. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. You can see that the global funding rate and an open interest chart still kind of building on top of itself, but more importantly, when you do overlay it with the price action chart, we can see very clearly that open interest did come down incredibly dramatically from yesterday to today, actually, which is rather nice, or actually over the last couple of days, really. But finally, we do see, a bit of a pullback right there, and then also we do see a bit of a pullback on price action, and we do see a bit of a pullback on open interest. So all of these things kind of, put together, and when we get into the charts as well, this will play in here too, but essentially suggesting that longs are taking profit. I'd imagine a large part of that is due to, and I don't think it's like a really good idea to get into motivations for why people did things, but what the interest rate would imply is that people likely, just taking those positions off so they can avoid paying those fees. Just so you know, a quick little tip here: if you are looking at nice one, Krown. Wow, I need some coffee, I think. Anyways, if you are looking at holding a long-term long position or just a long-term position in general, actually the best way to do that, if you want to avoid all of this nonsense with fees down here, is to just do it on futures contracts, on these wild west crypto exchanges. Now, this is not an endorsement of any one particular exchange. I do have a link to, I think, Bybit in the description below. I don't even really endorse them. I mean, so with that said, in cryptocurrency land, it's the fucking wild west. So you kind of just pick your poison. I would not say that any one exchange is like better than the other. They all have their pros and cons, and then you kind of have to, weigh them up in a decision for yourself. And it's ever changing as well. So, I've thought about doing a video on it in the past, but it changes so often, and these exchanges come and go every year. There's a new flavor of the year. Essentially, this year I think it's Bybit. Last year it was kind of like a Deribit BitMEX, and the year before that kind of like Finex, and the year before that, Poloniex, if anyone even fucking remembers that one. Anyways, what is that? So sorry, back on the topic of conversation. if you do put those positions on futures contracts on those exchanges that trade peer-to-peer specifically, so we're talking about like a BitMEX, we're talking about a Deribit, we're talking about those sort of style of exchanges, you actually don't pay any funny rate for those. You just pay your transaction costs at the beginning of the trade, which in some cases you actually even get paid to get filled on those exchanges, which is rather nice. But if you do them on perpetuals, then you do have to be aware of the funny rate, obviously, and in a markets like this, well, usually you're going to be paying if you're long, and that will add up over time. Also, another little trick that you can do if you're really up to it. Now, again, this does come with its own risk. Is that if you do let go of your position right into the actual funny rate itself, like even just 1 second before, you will actually avoid the funny rate. Now, obviously, you will be left, vulnerable to price action moves if you have any sort of risk on, or if you decide to jump back in. Price action will be moving, so that could go in your favor, could not go in your favor, but you technically would avoid the funny rate as well. So a lot of people have been asking about that. Just a quick couple things right there, but again, a little bit more complicated than that, but I do want to throw that out there. Anyways, as far as the funny rate goes, we do see that FTX and Bybit still way the fuck out there on Mars, above the even 0.15%, but everyone else is way below. Maybe Binance kind of creeping up as well. But as we can see, more importantly, over the last few days, it's been trending down, and this is why I love this chart over here. See that it's come down from all the way at a global rate of about 0.15, now below the threshold at 0.1. So I do like that, and that does support that this is still constructive price action on the medium and shorter term timeframes. And with that said, I think it's time to go into the secondary charts, the primary charts now. So of course, I always want to start off with sort of setting the biases for this, for this next segment, of which, remember, we did close both the 2-day and the 3-day above the topside Toronto bands, which for myself does set in the bias that I would be looking for on the short term, medium term timeframes, any sort of a pullback to be bought back on up. Calling back now to that number over here with the open interest. Remember yesterday that we did come down. Price action did come down as well, about a little bit more than $1,000 actually. What do we get up to? Actually, yeah, about almost $2,000 right there. From top to bottom, and that is essentially giving me the bias here that is to be essentially bought and reaccumulated, and I would still be sticking by that actually. Both the 2-day and the 3-day did this, of course. Now, what's the most important thing happening the soonest? Today, well, that would be CME weekly closure, of course, and that is going to play a major part in influencing spot price action closure for the weekly. And as you can see right now, weekly for CME is very much healthily above the topside Toronto band. It will remain above there as long as it closes above, especially 49,700-ish region. We can just say 50,000 to kind of make that easier, and obviously, you want to see a bit of a body above that level as well. So again, as long as that condition is met, I would essentially be looking for new all-time highs coming into next week with the same sort of targets in mind, based off of our Fibonacci extensions over here on this chart, which I believe we already have. Yep, we do. The 272 and the 414, kind of the next short-term, medium-term targets. But ultimately, we still do have the 618 up here in line with the pattern target as well, and that is right around $58,000, which is a big one. This one is a very, very big one. These two not as important. More important for short-term and medium-term type stuff. This one could turn into like a long-term one, right around $58,000. So keep that in mind. And I would still be looking for, I would still be looking for playoff of all these ones, but this one especially potentially even could produce potentially like a real reversal. But short-term, medium-term reversal extremely likely, and consolidations below that level extremely likely as well. Spending some time around there, which would be overall good, overall constructive for the long term. But for the short-term day traders who looking for moonshots every goddamn day, that would be an area of caution. Of course, you're going to see a lot of aggro profit taken around this region. You can also even see that the daily topside Toronto band is coming in right around the 414 as well, so that will be a natural kind of pullback point to play out a range between about 55,500 and 54,500-ish region, give or take a few $100 from that, I'd imagine, just because at these price points, the numbers are so big now that the smallest minute change in the way that I take these starts to account for, several hundreds of dollars of price difference. So it is getting like pretty damn difficult to manage in the lower term timeframes, which is kind of why I've switched around my strategy, especially coming out of the $20,000 area a couple months ago, but really started to double down in it in the $30,000 range, only really focusing on medium and higher term timeframe moving average strategies for more long term sort of potentially hodl trades. I guess I'm a hodler now, which is cool. I'm an investor. Can I write that on my bio now? Never thought of myself as such, but I actually do quite. I actually, all jokes aside, I actually do quite like it. It's nice and easy on the soul. It gives me time to focus on other endeavors that I want to get interested in, and there's definitely an art to it as well. Anyways, pulling up our momentum oscillators over here, we do still have the same sort of signatures on our DMI plus that are present, but not full, but not in its fully bullish posturing just yet. And that'll be the DMI plus, which is dominant. Of course, the ADX is dominant as well here, but neither is having a positive slope right now, which I really want to see both simultaneously throw that positive slope up. That's when you get these nice moves up, like you see over here in late December and in late October, both expansive phases, kind of in a in a similar posture as well. You can see stair steps this way up, just slowly but surely, just grinding all of the overzealous shorts on the way up. And this is like classic shit right here too. Just shoots you the fuck up, slowly but surely, just kind of rallying to and fro. But maintaining the uptrend and just being a fucking pain in the asshole for shorts. Same thing right here as well. You see that first move up, nice, then just kind of stair steps this way. It seems to me that we're kind of doing something similar over here as well. Anyways, MACD histogram does have to maintain about 51,168 in order to maintain the upwards momentum. However, everything else, is so far away that it's not even worth talking about right now. So what we should do is we should check out CME, see if there's anything of particular note right here that's not shown on spot price action. And as far as the daily goes, nope, it's more or less the same setup. In fact, pretty much all the same numbers as well, which is very interesting. In fact, the 2-day, do we close that one today? Okay, that's the 23rd. Where's my calendar over here? 23rd is Tuesday. No, we're not going to be closing the 2-day today, but same sort of thing here. It should be noted, though, that yesterday CME did close as 2-day yesterday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So technically speaking, it followed through with spot price action. So again, setting in the buys for new all-time highs very likely coming into next week. But keep in mind that CME does not trade over the weekend. So I would essentially be looking at this as a bit of a basing point with the overall buys coming into like the next few days of the next trading week. So that'd be Monday, Tuesday, as likely to continue its upwards trudge here, I suppose. What about the 3-day? Looks like we closed that one yesterday as well. Is that true? Yes, that is true. Or no, the 18th of February. So that would be yesterday, actually. Yeah, but still, I'm not really getting anything too unique off this anyways, and it's closing on the 23rd as well, so we're a little bit further away from that one. Anyways, with that in mind, I do think that it would be relevant to, I just want to check out the lower term timeframes here just out of curiosity, see what the 4-hour looks like. Okay, not really getting too much for this, or at least this is not my, I don't really like looking like or 4-hour timeframes on this chart right here. Not my main driver, certainly. I'm not getting too much from this. So, we're going to go to our other charts over here, see what we can find. And let's start off with the lower term timeframes as well. So, again, running off of the biases that we did generate from the higher term timeframes on those trending charts from both spot and weekly CME. I want to go into the lower term timeframes now on 4-hour to kind of judge where those sort of likely pivot points would be. So first and foremost, it looks like we already have one at our current posturing. As you can see, same level that we had marked off for the last actual couple of weeks here at the 2-spot extension, if you recall. Let me actually adjust this properly so that it accurately reflects that. There we go. 51,500-ish region. Remember this area as it was kind of like a short-term target coming out of this base over here. Bitcoin has, or it looks like it wants to try to put in a base above it. I think this also matches up with our volume profile as well. Let's just throw it on. It should naturally show something around there. And yes, indeed. It's not much, but you're not going to have much when you've only spent like about 2 days above $50,000. How thick of those nodes can you actually build up in that time? Not much, but it is something for now, and it is also lined up with the 21 exponential average as well in the 4 hours. So I do like this for good confluence, and also a 2-spot extension. So all of those do provide a short-term basing point here, which does mean that we can make some assumptions based off it, or at least I would postulate that you can make some assumptions off of it. And I would say that as long as 4-hour dolls close above, all good. Probably does get reaccumulated. We do see that momentum oscillators are somewhat turning south right now in the short-term timeframes. But breaking that level would not imply like a catastrophic breakdown. What it would imply, as I zoom back in over here, okay, I feel like my scale is off right now. What it would imply is a move back down, actually not just towards 49,500. That would be relevant for a short-term time frame bounce, but that's not what we're looking at anymore. We're actually looking at the point of control right here, which is in line with the 55 as well, and is more accurately in line with the last sort of formation that we had as well. So I do like that $48,000 region for the next sort sort of bounce if this level were to break. Yes, there would be like probably an hourly bounce somewhere around about 49.3, 49.5-ish region, but it wouldn't really register as anything on even a fucking 4 hour, I would imagine. So with all of that in mind, I'd be looking at this short-term time frame pivot, but if that area does fail, I'd be looking for the real bounce somewhere right around here. This is the area that really starts to matter now for the medium-term time frames. If Bitcoin starts to break down below about $48,000, I would look for extension all the way down to the 44,300-ish space right here. That's where now the long-term time frame starts to switch around. So you've seen these slowly but surely kind of get edged up to the next relevant time frame. What I mean by that is a couple days prior, this was relevant for the short-term time frames. This was relevant for the medium-term time frames. This was relevant for the long-term time frames. Now it's all kind of gone like one level up as Bitcoin essentially just stair steps its way onwards and forwards. So with that in mind, yes, I would get more long-term bearish below 44.3 now. That is a big market pivot, but $48,000 relevant for the medium-term time frames. And we're talking about a $4,000 move right there, just between these levels right here and from this level right here at 51 all the way to 48. I mean that's a $3,000 move that I'm saying is relevant for the short-term time frames. I mean that is still a $3,000 move. Below this level right here, that's when I really start to look for about a $5,000 move to the downside. Anywhere between about $39,000 to $40,000 is where I'd be looking towards, and very likely a bounce there, but I want to see it in real time after that. But for now, as long as those conditions are not met, especially this one right here, I'm just generally bullish, looking for one of these levels, whether it's $51,000 or it's this $48,000 territory right here to get reaccumulated. Keep in mind, we do have a weekend coming up, and a lot of the time what you do see over the weekend is a contrary move to the week's direction that is usually, in these cases, for upwards markets used for reaccumulation, in downwards markets, vice versa for distribution. In this case right here, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin did failed to kind of continue into Friday today on closure. I actually wouldn't be surprised if over the weekend we did see like a quick move down, test this region right here, and then accumulate a few wicks right there, and then just bring it back up on late Sunday when CME opens back up again. It's fucking classic. You've seen it many times before. If you've been in this market even for the last 3 months, you've seen it plenty of times over the weekend. So I would still be going with that actually. Anyways, looking at momentum oscillators, what do we see right here? We do see that 4 hour Stokes are coming down right now. Keep in mind that we do have this trend line that has been running well all the way through 22nd of January. Or it looks like I already got it in there. Nice one. But that would be coming all the way down here. So it would actually imply quite the downside move. All right, let's make it more of a regression here because that would be more appropriate. Okay, that's a best fits right there, and would actually grab onto the edge of the bullish control zone as well. So it actually would still be bullish posture. It would still be a bullish reset, but it would imply short-term downside, which with the weekend coming up, I mean, that would be, a little bit of weekend downside. 4 hour HVP also sitting at about a 0 read right now. So you can bet your fucking asshole that it's very likely that we actually do get quite the move within this next day or two here. Now, if that expansion phase does come to the downside, I mean, $44,000 wouldn't be out of the question. If it comes to the upside, $58,000 is certainly on the menu, maybe even a little bit more. In the right situation. Myself and Elsa started watching this show called Superstore recently, and it's actually really fucking funny. Pretty surprised. Usually I don't think that those shows are all that creative or that interesting, but that one actually has some good ones in it. There's this butch character she's the best. Anyways, has anyone even heard of that, or is that just it's definitely an American show, but I've never heard anything about it. Is it new? Who the fuck knows? Anyways, okay, so 3 hour right here, basically more or less the same as what we saw in the 4 hour. 3 hour Stokes trending down. They will remain to the downside as long as below $54,000. Even as the same sort of trend line as you can kind of visualize through there as well. So I don't think that we need to go over that. HVP, same shit. 3 hour RSI. Okay, so here's actually where I forgot to mention the 4 hour. So we did play out the hidden bullish divergences that we were building up into the 15th. Earlier this week. That I would say is mostly played out by now. However, what I'd be looking for is this next tick. Does this next tick, well, maybe it's going to take 2 ticks. It might actually take 2 ticks here. What I need to see from the 4 hour RSI in order to really be looking for another move back into the deeper bullish control zone, is I need to see a tick that maintains within the bullish control zone, meaning that I need to see both an open and close within that region. So this one right here, obviously, it's going to be a little bit outside, but if we do see the next one, which is going to have a chance to both open and close within there, then I would feel pretty damn confident with looking at this as reaccumulation from from this $51,000 level. This is going to be your next higher low right here. Bitcoin does, put in a move towards the next major level, of which I believe we have that at about 54, just below 54,000 bucks. Again, in line with pattern target, in line with Fibonacci target, in line with actually just mostly in line with those two things. Anyways, going on to the 2 hour, seeing as we already did the 3 hour, more or less same as well. We are getting that nice bullish reset for signature on the bi-hourly Stokes right here. I'd obviously have to bring this down a little bit more, but somewhere right around here would be about what I'm looking for. On top of that, do we see anything on bi-hourly RSI? Oh, okay, hold on. No, we don't have, okay, yes, we do actually. Now, it's probably not going to show it on this tick, but if this confirms as a local low right here, you will have hidden bullish divergence present on the bi-hourly. Not going to be a fucking moonshot off that, but would likely imply a move back up a little bit north of 52,000 bucks. How would you confirm a local low right here? I'd say any sort of a closure above the last 2 hour high would very likely do it for myself. That would be 51,500. So if that condition can be met, or just above the 10 simple right here, whichever is just easier to kind of document, I would be looking for a move back up a little bit north of 52,000 bucks in the short term, as we actually do have that present on expanding volatility signature down here and basically all the lower term time frames. So I do like that for right now. That would be another sort of semi-bullish thing building up. We do see that hourly has about the same thing going on right here too. So it would be about the same price point, 51,600, a little bit higher than that, but we do see the same signatures pretty much all the way around here. So with that said, this is starting to look a little bit more like an actual base area for the short-term timeframes. Wouldn't be surprised if actually Bitcoin does pick it up from here and try and move towards 54-ish region. But again, if this area does break, and we could use a 2 hour for it, we could actually use a 2 hour for this one. Again, below 51,000 bucks, then I would be looking for that move. Very likely back down below 51,000 bucks right here. Then I'd be looking for a move very likely below 50,000 bucks, somewhere anywhere between anywhere around about 48,000 to 48,500ish region. Bounces implied there, however. So all of that does look good for the short-term timeframes. In the more immediate analysis of that, and then we can go to the medium-term timeframes over here, which is where I think the bullish case really starts to kind of pull through once again. We do see that 12-hour Stokes do remain with their momentum to the upside as long as above 51,329. More importantly, on top of that, we do see that 12-hour RSI still playing out that hidden bullish divergence right here. This one, obviously taking its time, but as we've seen in the past before, sometimes it could take up to like a week and a half for that to like fully play out. In this case, I would not say that this is fully played out just yet. It would be considered fully played out once once the RSI kind of dips boosts back up towards the top side of the bullish control zone right around here. So I still look at this as very much actionable actually. Is there anything else to be aware of? HVP obviously trending down as price action just kind of moves its way onwards and forwards, and I search for my shoes. Nice one. And then what do we see on the daily over here? Daily is above all major moving averages. All major moving averages have positive slopes. Daily RSI, I would still consider this a little bit of a breakout right here after this triangular consolidation, which, yes, I do put a lot more weight on formations in RSI actually than I do on price action. Not that I'm a pattern trader to begin with, but if I am going to be a pattern trader, I actually do find that RSI is a little bit better hit rate for those. Anyways, with this right here, as long as it's riding above the exponential, I do look at this as just likely to kind of float its way onwards and upwards. Momentum remains the upside as long as above 47,400ish region. So all of that does again look good in combination with each other. Buy daily continuation. 3-day continuation. Again, if we did have a backfill on 3-day, that would be right around that actually about 48,500ish region. So if Bitcoin did want to have a short-term move to the downside, again, I wouldn't look at that as catastrophic. It's below 48,000 bucks on like 2 hour and 4 hour dildo closures, where things start to look a little bit more diabolical for the medium-term timeframes and can actually that's when I really would be a little more cautious here. But as it stands right now, this is all looking like it's not even reaccumulation, it's like vertical accumulation. It's like the highly illustrious vertical accumulation. It's kind of like a meme, but it's also not, because it's actually kind of works in this scenario. I mean, that is what technically is going on. Let's see, is there anything different about our oscillators here on CME? Just out of curiosity, we did have some bearish divergence, but I'd say that that move's played out. We went from 54 all the way down to 50,000. Yeah, $4,000 move, not bad. What about 4 hour right here? Do we see anything different as well? Yes, once again, CME chart. throw away your other fucking charts. CME is the easiest one to read. Okay, so once again, CME reveals that if Bitcoin can put in a local low right here, which to be fair, it is not doing right now, or it's still like at least another couple dildos away from potentially doing that. We actually would have hidden bullish divergence right here coming off of that low as well. This is a slightly lower low on the RSI. We can see this one at about a 58.84, this one at a 57.67. So yes, that certainly is divergence with a price point differential of about $3,000 between 48.5 and kind of where we're at right now at about 51.5. Again, I'm rounding here just in case anyone's like doing numbers like Krown. It's more like $600. It's like, hold on, just quick mental maths. That's why we have calculators. But yes, looking at this area right here, again, on an expansive volatility posturing, I would be looking at that if it does confirm a local low, which how would you confirm a local low on this one? It's a little bit more, it's a little more complex because we don't have enough information just yet. I would say a local low would be confirmed with any sort of a 4-hour dildo closure, specifically on CME. That is specifically on CME, closing above $52,000. Can we make a corollary for that on spot price action? We can. 51,750 would be that same area for 4-hour spot price action. 51,750 again. So closures above there, yes, a hidden bullish divergence would be initiated on CME. I'd be looking for another retest of the high at about just below $53,000. Does that lead into continuation towards 54? Probably yes, because I don't really see anything else at 53, and except for the prior high on that run, which is not really all that relevant anyways, because we are within the midst of greater forces right now. I need to take a sip of this water though, man, because I am really fucking thirsty right now. The sweet succulent sounds of alliterations going down your mouth in the early morning hours. All right, so we're already 26 minutes into this bitch. Let's start to get into traditional markets. We were looking for a pullback on traditional markets yesterday. Did we get that pullback? We did get that pullback, it looks like. We also did get another bounce up for 13.5 once again. Exactly as predicted. I can't even keep a straight fucking face for this one. So what's going on right here? Should we be looking for bigger bounces right now, or is this the time to get the fuck out? I do think that it is going to, it very likely does put in a short-term bounce here. Do we see anything on a 12-hour or daily? I want to see if there's any divergences building up right there. Well, we did have bearish divergence on the top, to be fair, but that move's played out from 13.9 all the way down to 13.5, or a little bit lower than that. Yeah, that's mostly played out. Would I be looking for a short-term bounce here? Okay, a couple things. All right, I do think that a healthy amount of I don't know on NASDAQ is the proper response for myself. I do have to keep myself honest here, and I don't think that this is... Yeah, I'm not really there. Okay, there's one obvious thing that could be happening, but let's go check out SPY first. Yeah, SPY doesn't have it. That's what makes me apprehensive about saying that. Because if it's not present on both, it's probably not going to happen. And which one's the more obvious chart right now? I mean, this looks like a head and shoulders top, to be fair. This one would be a little bit more on the short-term downside. Implying a little bit more short-term downside. In this case, I think for today, I'm not going to say anything too helpful here, because I don't think that I have anything too helpful to say, and that's just going to be the fucking reality sometimes. Let me get rid of this. What I can do is this. Not anything too great, but at least would provide some sort of baseline. This would be my short-term range for SPY specifically, meaning that below 38.90-ish region, I would be targeting to move back down towards 35 to 38.40-ish region, in line with the 4-hour 200 simple and 200 exponential average with bounces implied there. By the same token, anything within this region, I am neutral to that. Technically speaking, I should be looking at it as potentially bullish reaccumulation. But that's not going to be confirmed. Bullish reaccumulation is not confirmed as long as we're below 39.30 on a 4-hour. Now, I'm curious if we see anything on these charts over here. I'm looking for something obvious, which I haven't found just yet. Let's go to a daily. Daily's bouncing off the 20 simple. Pretty normal stuff. What about weekly? A lot of people are going to call this a bearish engulfing. Technically, it could be. Could close as one, but again, I don't look at that as actionable. Same thing on SPY as well. Could be considered a spinning top. What do we see on momentum oscillators? And this makes me think that this is not going to be bearish here. Yeah, I think a healthy amount of I don't know is going to be the right call on this one. If I did have to chart it, this is how I chart it. This is nothing spectacular. This is nothing crazy, but this is honest, and I think this is the right way to be going about things because obviously, if things do break this level right here, yes, that's confirming your head and shoulders, and I would be looking for a target back down here. I'm sure that there's a measure move in line with that as well. Let's just do a shitty one right there. Shitty moves. There you go. Yeah, right in line with the 200 simple and 200 exponential average. So that would imply a move back down to about 3830-ish region. As long as it does not break below this level, technically speaking, I should be looking at this as reaccumulation. There are a few counterpoints to that on the higher term timeframes, to be fair, but that would be certainly confirmed with any sort of either a move above this high right here, so that's 39.36, or a closure above this level, which is basically 39.30, so about the same level anyways, and that would imply new all-time highs coming into next week. So I think I should just move on from that one. And maybe on the late day wrap up later today, there's going to be something a little more confidence inducing. Maybe we even get a move outside of that range. The longer that it spends here without breaking down, I would say that would imply more bullish reaccumulation over actual distribution on the top. That's another thing that I could say, but I'd want to see it stay there for like another couple days, actually. So coming into next Monday is essentially what I'm saying. Let's go check out Bitcoin dominance really quick. Let's see what he or she or Zer or Zim has to say. And short-term down, certainly. Shouldn't say certainly, but yeah, certainly short-term down. Death cross is incoming. Death cross is confirmed here. Ooh, nasty. I don't think that moving averages work on this, by the way, on dominance chart. Although they actually do have, although apparently they do, not in the sense that I'm usually used to, but I would be extremely cautious in this region right here, because that could turn into your three drives reversal. Technically speaking, we do have major hidden bearish divergence coming off that last high, but how far does that get that down? I think short term, very likely down another like 0.5%. The question is, how do we operate over the weekend? So again, another one where I think it's actually just going to be easier to watch some of the major pairings here. Let's look at Ethereum, Bitcoin. Big bounce, big bounce. I believe that we did talk about a bounce back up to about 3 million and 3/4. I'm trying to say 3,750,000 Satoshis. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, the bounce is playing out right here. Short term, do we look for this bounce to continue? It's looking like yes. A lot of things in good posturing here for a bit of a continuation. By the way, daily Stokes going to be playing off this trend line right here too. So I would be putting a lot of weight on that. If I did have to call things right now, yeah, I do think that Ethereum Bitcoin has put in at the very least a medium term low here and does work its way back up towards probably 4 million Satoshis. After that, that's when the game's on once again to see if the reversal is actually real. If this is your next higher low as well, that would be phenomenally bullish, but that a lot remains to be seen for right now. But at least short term, medium term, yes, I would be looking for that next move up somewhere around about 4 million Satoshis. All right. What else do we want to check out? Nothing. Yeah, that's it. All right. Yeah, I think we're going to shut off right there. Actually, I do want to check out caretaker ranges really quickly. What are we seeing right here? This is hourly showing 52.5 to the upside. So basically the high of the range versus 50,700 to the downside. So the bottom side of the short-term range. Different way of kind of doing what I was doing earlier. On the 4 hour, however, you can see a lot more confluence with the downside target and the upside, and yes, our first upside target of about $54,000. So that is going to be a natural, natural short-term pullback point. But in this expansive posturing right here, especially looking at HVP, we can see very, very clearly that that likely does lead into continuation overall. So it would be a short-term pullback, maybe for like scalp trade, but ultimately continuation in whichever direction that does break. And in this case, it's still, I mean, this caretaker's SEC right here, very obviously showing that, or very obviously having a bullish bias, as you can see. So we are in agreement, sir, Mr. Caretaker. We are in agreement, my friend. Anyways, let's go back on over here. Let's get ready to rumble with this. Or actually, let's go to the CME chart. Just a lot more obvious. Once again, sir. Okay, cool. And we'll keep it like that. We'll go over here. So I'll put CME on this one as well. Okay, alrighty. Let's wrap this bitch up. Bitcoin on The most important thing happening then potentially the soonest would be the weekly CME closure coming later today at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is going to have a chance to close above the topside trailing band once again, of which that would denote or would put in the buys for the next week to come of new all-time highs, please. And with that in mind, the topside trailing band is currently situated right below 50,000 bucks at 49,750, we'll call it. So if that condition is met by end of today, again, that would put in a buys for next week, new all-time highs. However, over the weekend, anything can happen. I really do not like making predictions over the weekend, if you will. But with that said, I would be looking for a bullish next week, and then maybe a pullback over the weekend. We obviously want to see that in real time. As it stands right now, though, weekly is looking good for CMEs, and then of course if we do want to follow up on spot price action as well, we should say that the 2-day and 3-day obviously did follow through with that, albeit this was confirmed yesterday, not today. So this is kind of rehashing old information, but remember that does set in the buys for these next sort of segments to come as well, likely reaccumulation if we go to the lower term timeframes. So with that in mind, I would be looking at especially the 3-day here as showing a backfill somewhere right around 48,500-ish region as as a potential weekend sort of excursion region. Bitcoin did get down around there. That'd be pretty damn obvious bounce area. On top of that, we do see, I believe it's fork motherfucking time. Perfect motherfucking timing for this shit. Jesus Christ. Anyways, CME weekly, of course, as well, does have some pretty good things going on the oscillators right here. We do see that DMI plus very much dominant, has a positive slope, ADX continuing with positive slope as well, and MACD histogram continuing to increase here as long as we're above 39,000 bucks. So everything that CME is looking at right now is looking like continuation coming into next week again. Let's go into the lower term timeframes for spot price action. Actually, first we'll do it for CMEs, because CMEs have something that spot price action does not potentially, and that is building divergences on the 4-hour right here. We are getting lower lows on RSI with higher lows on price action. To be fair, though, this is not confirmed as a local low just yet, so there's no divergence present until we have two local lows to confirm with each other. Our past one right on over here, and then this potential one right here. How would you confirm a local low right here? Well, to do that, I would really be looking for a closure just above 52,000 bucks would confirm it for myself. If we're looking for a spot corollary on that, that would be about 51,750. So if one of those two things happens, which they probably happen simultaneously, then I would be looking at that as a confirmed local low, which would imply hidden bullish divergence, which in this case right here would at the very least imply another retest of the tops of the range. But seeing as we're already so fucking close to that region, it's very likely that we just kind of leap up and or we leap up, Bitcoin would leap up and tag the next relevant high term time frame pivot point, of which we can reference the same ones that we've been having for a while now, which would be right around the 2.272, which is about 54,200-ish region. Anywhere between there and the 414 is kind of like the next short-term, medium-term basing region, and that is going to be between about 55.5 and 54.3, we'll call it. Also in line with the daily topside trailing band as well at the 2.414 on the 55.5 region. So I would say that, hey, if Bitcoin does get around there, I would be looking for a short-term range to kind of extrapolate between these two guys right here. However, very unlikely we actually do see the rally right there. Most importantly, because we do see, if we go back on over here, we do see all lower term timeframes in an expansion posturing, which to me would imply that very unlikely as I scroll through all the lower term timeframes, you can see right here. Very, very unlikely that the rally would be done on that time frame. More likely that Bitcoin would leap up and actually fulfill the pattern target, the formation target from this whole guy right here at the 2.618. That's 58,000 bucks. Also a very, 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 very big algo target as well. So I would be cognizant of that, as that one would very likely produce a bit of a more vicious pullback in comparison to the 272 and the 414, which is probably more relevant for the short-term timeframes. So with all of that in mind, we should talk about the downside as well if it does happen here. As always, it's good to be, thorough with the analyses. And in this case, I would be looking at this as a short-term basing point at about 51,000 bucks. If Bitcoin does start to close 2-hour or 4-hour deltas below 51,000 bucks, or wherever the 21 exponential average is, which is creeping up nice and slowly right now, then I would be looking for a short-term move of about 3,000 bucks down to $48,000 base. $48,000 is a big one now, because it is actually the pivot for this formation, and also our volume profile showing a little bit of activity in this region as well, which is really getting it actually incredibly well as of recent times. And I would be looking for a medium-term time frame move to extrapolate if this area is broken on top of that. So this one's relevant for the short term, this one relevant for the medium term. This one would very likely align with about a $4,000 move all the way down to 44.3 base. Below this level right here, I do start to switch my long-term buys to bearish, looking for another $5,000 move to the downside, somewhere around about 39,000 bucks, but I want to see that one in real time. Obviously, I'm not necessarily looking for these things to happen, but I do think that it's important to go over points of failure earlier where that whole narrative shifts and biases shift. But for the more immediate future, I mean, things just look like continuation here, especially with the way that CME Weekly is shaping up right now. And with that said, before the forks start fucking flying, I'd like to wish you the best of the best. Take care, and until next time.